Hello everyone, welcome to Rev Sports 5 p.m. show and joining me today are Devashish, Bharat and Vaibhav will also join in a bit and the practice session of Team India has come to an end and a lot of pointers are also ready for everyone, for all the viewers. So without wasting any time, Devashish, straight up coming to you, can you please walk us throughout the practice session which happened today?
Yeah, Srishti. The practice session went on for almost 3.5 hours. Uh, so it was the final day of training here in Colombo before the team leaves for Galle tomorrow for the first test match, which begins on August 15. Now, coming back to practice, as I said, that it was a 3.5 hours practice. The team turned up around 10:30 and the practice started at 11 a.m. It was supposed to finish by end by 1 p.m., which was sent by BCCI media release, but eventually it ended around 2:30 local time. So, which was almost around 3.5 hours. Now, the practice was completed at 11 a.m.
I think there is some network issue from Devashish's side. Right, Bharat? I think we can't hear him, right?
No, I can't.
You can't? Okay. Okay. So he'll rejoin. No issues with that. Okay. So, Bharat, coming to you, there is a lot of dilemma throughout because earlier the dilemma was that who will be the second pacer alongside Mohammad Siraj. Now the dilemma is Sarfaraz Khan or Dhruv Jural, whom you want to give the batting chances. Also, there is a lot of dilemma around the spinners as well. So, what are your opinions regarding it? Because again, Sarfaraz Khan, he got a tick mark in the squad. In the squad, I'm talking about. Do you think he has a chance in the playing 11?
Yeah, see, I guess they will go as per the pecking order, a certain pecking order. So, in that sense, Afras might miss out because he's basically a replacement player. He's not someone who was in the initial squad. In that sense, I guess he would miss out. But having said that, he's a very good player of spin in the sense that he's not an orthodox player of spin, but plays a lot of sweep shots. And in this era, DRS era, I guess sweep shot is a good shot to play because in this DRS era, spinners are generally bowling quicker through the air. They're not giving much air like from in that time, the Bedis of the world, Prasannas of the world, uh, Tayfields of the world, Ashley Malletts of the world. They're not giving much flight. These finger spinners these days look for quicker because they want to get a lot of LBWs in the DRS era. So in that sense, sweep is a good stroke in your armor. So I might think of Safraz, but the Indian management generally these days teams across not just India, teams across the cricketing landscape, they go as per a certain pecking order that if a player is injured, then the next player who was picked in the initial squad would get in. And then if that player fails in the first test, maybe something like that, Safras might get in. So logic says it would be the one who was already in the initial squad. But if you ask me, I might think of taking a gamble with Safras just because he plays the sweep shot really well against Spain.
Very rightly said, Bharat, because again, like today's practice session, if like again, Devashish and Vaibhav will join us again shortly. But yeah, the thing which I read it was that a lot of spin practice was going on, and I really feel that spin is very important. Again, the things which has happened in the past, and I'm not pinpointing any particular generation or anything. It's just that people are talking more about it now, the spin issues with Indian batters. So the amount of practice which I have heard from Vaibhav itself, that the amount of practice which has been done in front of the spinners, the batters were constantly facing Saransh Jain and Manav Suthar and everyone. So that is, I think, quite commendable, Bharat, if as far as Test cricket is concerned, because again, no judgments, nothing, but still we have to accept the fact that the Team Indian batting is a bit struggling in front of the spin, and it was very much important for them to practice because again, the WTC final is on the line. What do you say about it?
Yeah, I guess it goes back to the DRS era. India have not been able to adjust to a different style of batting. See, because what has happened is, I don't think even if you go down to junior ranks, at least when I was around, junior ranks, or even now when I go to an academy or two, like say I saw a couple of academies recent in Bangalore. I don't think the juniors practice sweep shot. The sweep shot has become one of the main
Yeah.
shots now. There I said, look at how what New Zealand especially did to India in 2024-25. There was one test match in Pune. I have already written a copy on it. I don't exactly remember the count, but the New Zealanders played 4 or 5 times more sweep shots than the Indian batters in the Pune test. And check out who won that particular test match. It was New Zealand because, as I noted, spinners now generally ball quicker through the air, not those flight bowlers from the past that I saw in the 90s or on those lines. So I expect Rabha Jaiswal also to bowl pretty quick, and Ramesh Mandi is also to do that. So that is why it becomes a little difficult to come down the track and play all these big shots. You have to, I think, look at sweep. You have to look at reverse sweep, and that is where I think India have kind of fallen behind. Yes, they don't trust the defense, as it's already been noted that if you don't trust your defense, then then it would be a problem against any kind of spin bowling. First of all, you have to trust your defense, and perhaps they have to look at playing the sweep and reverse sweep. So hopefully they are practicing these two strokes because I think they need it somewhere in Sri Lanka. Although I don't expect a raging turner, that's just my hunch because Sri Lanka have not really played well on last months or whatever I've seen. I don't think they're in good form as far as Test cricket is concerned. Maybe the last time they prepared a raging turner was perhaps somewhere in 2022, 4 years ago, at least based on my memory. So I don't think they'll prepare a raging turner, but still expect a little bit of turn. And hopefully the Indian batters will be good with a sweep and reverse sweep. I don't expect that to happen until they are able to crack the code of playing the sweep and reverse sweep in the DRS era. I think, unfortunately, India might have some struggles against spin bowlers who bowl quicker. Not exactly those Afghanistan spin bowlers who tended to bowl very slow through the air in that one-off test match, and that is when the Indian batters look much better against spin bowlers.
Okay, very rightly put. And Devashish, please continue what you were saying about the practice, the updates you were giving. Then I'll come to Vaibhav as well.
Yeah, as I was saying, it was a quite an intense practice session that went on for almost 3.5 hours, and the focus was on the spinners. All the four the spinners in the main squad were seen bowling in tandem, along with Akib Nabi. The three pacers were not present, and they were given rest. And obviously, the focus was on Shubman Gill, and most of the batters they played sweep and reverse sweep. Someone like a Jidra Patikal, I'll share a couple of images as well of Jidra Patikal playing reverse sweep. So that was the main focus. Obviously, Shubman Gill, I will discuss more in details. And we have also done a detailed video with me and Vaibhav. Both were present in front of the practice arena where Shubman Gill were practicing reverse swing because the conditions here might also favor reverse swing because the test series will be played in Kookaburra ball and the outfield here is not large screen as is normally is the case in Australia. So the polish will be swept up very soon. So reverse swing might come into effect, and that was the specific reason that Shubman Gill batted for almost 20 minutes. He took throwdown from all the three throwdown specialists, Nuwan, Raghu, and Dayananda. So after the 20 minutes, he dropped in to the center wicket. All the batters they practiced on the center wicket, the match simulation practice against all the four spinners, and Akim Nabi was only present among the pacers. So that's the more or less an update of the Indian team. Tomorrow the team travels to Galle for the first test match, which gets underway from August 15, and they will have 3 more training sessions before the first test.
Okay, okay. Vaibhav, coming to you next. Earlier, when we were talking during the 12 p.m. show, the practice just started and now it has come to an end, as we all noted. So, do you see anything a bit unusual in the practice or something like that, that a particular player was not practicing or something like that, some or the other thing like that? And if you want to add something from to Devashish's point as well, you can do that as well.
See, as I told in the 12 p.m. live as well, that only 3 bowlers were not there. Apart from that, everybody turned up. If you talk about the spinners, all 4 spinners of the squad were here. All the batters batted. The only notable point was the center wicket, where match stimulation happened, all the batters, including the bowlers like Kuldeep Yadav, Saransh, then Kuldeep Yadav was also seen batting. The only two players who didn't bat on the center wicket was Saransh Jain and Akib Nabi. And now we know, because Washington Sundar is not there, that's why a Saransh Jain is brought into the squad. Jasprit Bumrah is ruled out, that's why an Akib Nabi is there. And these are small hints, small indications that if Kuldeep Yadav can bat at the center wicket, why not Saransh Jain? Saransh Jain in the last domestic season, he completed a double of 30 plus wickets and 500 runs. So why not an all-rounder? Saransh Jain is batting at the center wicket when everybody else is batting. So that gives you some sort of indication, and that was given in the if you follow that 3-day practice game also. Saransh Jain and Akib Nabi were under bowled. They didn't bowl as many overs as a Kuldeep Yadav, Manav Sutar, Ravindra Jadeja or other pacers. If you talk about Akib Nabi, the number of overs Gurnoor Brar, Prasidh Krishna or Mohammad Siraj bowled, he didn't bowl that many overs. He was seen bowling here at the center wicket because he was the only pacer available throughout the practice session. So these are the small hints that tells you that the team management, is looking at one certain set of players for the first test. And for me, I don't think Saransh Jain and Akib Nabi are in those set of players who will be in reckoning. Obviously, plenty of time is still left for the first test, but whatever we have gathered from the practice session, from the practice game here at the NCC where I'm sitting right now, I think it's the picture. It tells you these indicators tells you one story. Also, there is a separate story that we have done on Shubman Gill's special practice session against the old ball that you guys please watch tomorrow. That will be there at the 10 a.m. But that was one
100%.
specific practice. If I have to talk about the overall, whatever has happened in the NCC all these days, ever since the team has come since 5th of this month, then obviously Rishabh Pant has also batted against the old ball. Dhruv Jurel also has batted against the old ball because these batters are middle order batters. And today it was Shubman Gill, facing the throwdown specialist with the relatively old ball. And because reverse swing in abrasive wickets, reverse swing becomes a big role. It becomes a big factor. And Sri Lanka have somebody like an Asita Fernando who can bowl at 140 plus and can get some reverse swing. That is why they are preparing for all the challenges, all the kind of conditions, and that is why ever since they have come to Colombo, they have not wasted a single day. Every day they have turned up for practice. Every day they have spent more than 3 hours. All the practice session they spent more than 3 hours. 3 practice session happened in 3 match days. So that tells you that how much Team India is serious, how much the players are looking forward to this series because they understand the significance of this series and what's on the table. And obviously challenge is not that big given the form of Sri Lanka, as Bharat has also said, but they understand that they cannot afford any single hiccup with WTC points on the line.
100%. Very rightly put, Vaibhav. Vaibhav, don't unmute. I just need another update from you about Shubman Gill's hand. Is he doing fine now? He had some issues with his hand earlier, so now is he doing fine with it?
See the series of events from yesterday. Yesterday, he started the practice session. That time we said that his right hand was not completely fine. Then he went on to bat for good time, like 40 about 40-45 minutes, an hour on the spin nets. And then he batted in the match opening with Yashasvi Jaiswal. I think he was looking fine yesterday as well. There was no discomfort whatsoever. And then after the game ended, it was Sairaj Bhatule who dismissed all the concerns regarding Shubman Gill's fitness. Even if you look at him in the practice today, there was no signs of discomfort that he is feeling. So there is no pain. Shubman Gill is all fine, and I don't think there is anything. We didn't even spotted any bandages or any heavy strapping on his right hand. So Shubman Gill looks fine. The amount of time he is giving to the practice, he is doing the batting drills. That tells you that there is nothing to worry. That we have been saying since day one only, since the time he's been hit. We have been saying the same thing again and again, that there is no big injury concern with regards to Shubman Gill. It's just a precautionary measure because he's a big player and already India have lost a lot of players. That's why they don't want to take chance with their first choice players, and that is what they did with Shubman Gill.
Okay. Okay. Bharat, coming to you, right now, Vaibhav pinpointed a point about Saransh Jain and Aqib Nabi, and obviously, like, we'll not go to Aqib Nabi much right now. The reason behind is that with Mohammad Siraj, you have two options. Abhi say you have Prasidh Krishna, you have Gurnur Brar, so any one of them maybe can get a chance. So, do you think that there is any chance of Saransh Jain being in the playing 11 and he could do a good job because he has played the India versus Sri Lanka A game here as well?
Oh, that's difficult to say. See, Manav Sutar should get in, definitely get in, because I think whatever I've seen, even though it could be like two left arm spinners in the Indian ranks, but still, Manav Sutar, the way he's bowling, I think you can't leave him out, in my humble opinion. Currently, just on form, I'm not saying he's a better spinner than Ravindra Jadeja, but on form, the way he's bowling is India's best spinner. So we can't really drop Manav Sutar. So in that sense, it makes it a little bit difficult uh, as to how to fit in someone like Saransh Jain. Yes, they can definitely look at him because he brings the off spin factor into play. That might give him a little bit of, what can I say, head start when compared to Kuldeep Yadav or whoever it is, because he brings in that off spin factor. So if you're looking at two seamers plus three spinners, then he could come in the equation in that sense. But Saran Jain, again, is a kind of a utility cricketer. I'm not saying he's a bad bowler. That's not right, because he has done enough the Ranji Trophy while playing for Madhya Pradesh. But he's more of a utility cricketer, can bat reasonably well, flights the ball quite well, and can go around the wicket, get a little bit of turn, uses the angles pretty reasonably well. So yeah, he can come in the equation, but I think it's more of a fringe selection with someone like Saran Jain. If India want an off spinner to go in with a couple of left arm spinners, then I think he would be picked. But Manav Sutar definitely has to be in that playing 11, because the way he's bowling, you can't really drop him. And Ravindra Jadeja obviously gets in because of his batting abilities. I don't think he's in the form of his life. With great respect, Ravindra Jadeja, with his bowling, I don't think he's in the form of his life. Yes, as a batsman, obviously, he scored a lot of runs in England. I understand that in Test cricket. But as a bowler, I think he's lost a little bit of mojo. But you need him more for his batting abilities in this team, at least, especially because it's still an inexperienced batting lineup. So yeah, for his off spin ability, for his off spinners, Saranjin might come into the equation, but I would still look at him as a fringe selection.
Okay. Okay. Vaibhav, your opinions on the same about Saraj Jain, because we had a conversation regarding the Pacers a couple of times. So, what are your opinions about the spinners as well? Do you think Saraj Jain could somehow get a chance in the playing 11?
See, it seems very unlikely at the moment, given what we have seen in the practice game and in the 3 practice sessions. Saransh looked absolutely brilliant in the first 2 days of the practice. He was getting the maximum turn out of the surface, out of the practice pitches against the right-handers, left-handers. He was using the crease well. He was using creating different angles, and he was making life difficult for batters like Yashasvi Jaiswal, Devdutt Padikkal. Even he beat Shubman Gill and KL Rahul as well. But the same Saransh Jain for some reason was missing during the practice match. For some reason, he didn't get a lot of turn. And in second session, yeah, when India were bowling second for the second time in the match, then there was some purchase for the spinners. I won't say a great deal of turn, but there was some purchase. But he was under bowled in the second innings, and that's why we were surprised. And we asked this question to Sairaj as well, and then he said because the Indian team had a lot of options, that's why they didn't feel like using, and they only bowled 45 overs in the second innings of the match. So see, whatever little hints, indicators that you get here, it tells you that maybe you will find Saransh Jain out of the playing 11. Because see, again the question comes in, at whose place Saransh will walk in the playing 11. You cannot drop a Ravindra Jadeja. You will not do that. After that player of the match performance and the way Manav has, forget that Afghanistan test, whatever he has done here at the NCC, whether you talk about the practice sessions or the practice match, he looked by far he looked the most impressive spinner. Better than Ravindra Jadeja, better than Kuldeep Yadav. Saransh Jain didn't bowl so you cannot make much out of it. But uh, Manav, I have said this on couple of occasions in the past as well, has been looking better. And what adds to his selection is the batting stability that he brings at number 8 or 9. If he's batting at number 8, he's more than a good enough batter to bat. The way he played in the practice game, that also tells you, if a batter on a pitch which is slightly turning against a international spinner turning away from him, if he can hit the inside out shot well on a turning surface, then you know that this batter has got quality with the bat, and that's what Manav Sutar is all about. So Ravindra Jadeja, Manav Sutar, then third spinner. It is now, if you are dropping Kuldeep Yadav, then it won't give you right. Okay, in England, if you dropped, okay, then also it was fine. Although it doesn't justify the fact that he shouldn't have been dropped. He should have played. He didn't have to travel only as a player. He should have played as well, not just a traveler. But now, if you are thinking about the first test, irrespective of the condition, see whether it turns or not, Kuldeep Yadav has that skill set that he can get the turn out of any surface. So that's why you have to bring a Kuldeep Yadav, because it's not just about Kuldeep Yadav's experience, it's also about the variety that he brings. And not a lot of Sri Lanka current crop of batters have faced Kuldeep Yadav. So that's what an element of surprise that Kuldeep Yadav brings. So for me, it's a pretty straightforward thing, although it's not for the team management. But for me, it's pretty straightforward. Ravindra Jadeja, Manav Sutar and Kuldeep Yadav, 3 spinners, and then Mohammad Siraj and Gurnur Brar as your 2 pacers.
Okay. Okay, Gurnur Brar. I think me and Vaibhav, both of us have done a separate video on this as well, about who will get paired, obviously, with Mohammad Siraj. And I think both of us were on the same page when we're talking about this particular topic. That according to both of us, that's our personal opinion, that Gurnur Brar can be a good option with Mohammad Siraj as far as the variations and the form is concerned. Bharat, you want to add up something to the pace bowling lineup? Because again, the questions are still there, that who will get paired with Mohammad Siraj?
So I don't think there is any real difference, in my humble opinion, between Gurnur and Prasidh in terms of what they bring. They might have slight differences in how they bowl. Maybe Prasidh Krishna has a slight deception in his action, because when he bowls short, when he bowls good length, there isn't much difference in terms of, or you can put it this way, the batters tend to not pick the difference between this good length and short deliveries. And yeah, Gurnur maybe is a little taller than him, one is slightly taller, might get a little more bounce, but both bring similar things to the table. So I don't think there's any real difference between these two. It's almost like if someone is swarming the bench, you feel that he's better than the other guy. Most likely both will pick up a wicket or 2 if they play the first test match on a flat track. And most likely both are slightly better options than Akib Nabi. So I feel it's a very fringe selection. And to Prasidh's credit, in his last 2 test matches, he's picked 11 wickets. So it's not like in his last 2 test matches he's picked 2-3 wickets or has failed or something like that. He picked 8 in England. And then in the one-off test match with 43 degrees around, he picked 3 wickets and outbowled Mohammad Siraj in that particular test match, if you notice. So it's not done anything wrong in test cricket in his last 2 test matches. And yeah, Gurnur picked up 10 wickets in the game against Sri Lanka A. So honestly, I don't really see any difference between these two. Whoever it is, it's fine. Though I still feel, even with regard to Gurnur Brar, he has to do some work with his fast bowling mindset based on what I saw at Lords. I didn't see much of that practice game because I was somewhere else taking some other interview. So I didn't see much of that. But I definitely saw his performance at Lords in that ODI against England. I still think he has to understand how to construct an over, because he just bowls. He seems like he just goes out there and bowls, hopes that he will get a wicket. That's how I felt while watching him bowl. But that's nothing against him, because a lot of Indian fast bowlers take more time to mature, to understand when to pull the length back, when to bowl fuller, when to bowl quicker, when to bowl a little bit slower, and all these different things. It could be even like, say, Glenn McGrath said to me when talking about fast bowling mindset. It's also about how you work out a batsman, whether he's more of a back foot player, whether he's more of a front foot player. All these things, I genuinely feel, barring Bumrah and Kapil Dev, Indian fast bowlers take a lot more time to understand this small subtleties. It could be one Mohammad Shami or a Javgal Srinath or Zaid Khan. All these bowlers ended up becoming good bowlers in the end, but they took more time to mature. So this is a problem with Indian fast bowlers. I think Gunur also has this issue, in my humble opinion, and Prasid also has that issue. Maybe he's got slightly better at it. So if you ask me, there is no, it's a fringe selection in my humble opinion. Maybe I will continue with Prasid because he's not done anything wrong in his last two test matches. And if either of them play, my most likely guess is Gunur or Prasid will pick 2-3 wickets, and they are better options. Both of them are better options than Akib Nabi.
Okay. Okay. So before we close the show, Vaibhav, one last question to you. How big of a pressure it could be on the obviously Indian captain and in the Indian team? Because again, the WTC cycle is online. Nobody can deny that fact. And the previous WTC final you were unable to play due to obvious reasons will not go in the past, but yeah, we all know what happened, whitewashes and everything. So do you think that captain Shubman Gill and also obviously the team management, they are under a subtle kind of pressure because the WTC cycle is on the line?
See, not just the captain or the coach. I think the whole team is under pressure, given the performances they had in the recent past, or you say last 1 year in red ball cricket specifically. Ever since you lost that series to New Zealand, it seems like there is a theory now that has been floating around that India cannot play spin, especially against the red ball. It has happened
Yes.
twice. Lightning has struck you twice against, first with New Zealand, then with South Africa last year at home. So now there is a pressure. Whenever India comes out to play red ball cricket, then it's always a lot of pressure on them, and not just a couple of names that you have mentioned. It's about the whole team. Whole team will be under pressure because whenever India plays, it's about the everybody who's involved. It's you cannot just name pick one or two players alone.
Yes.
Shubman Gill, if he performs alone, he cannot win you the series. You will need the bowlers to take
Yes.
20 wickets in every test match. You need other batters also to perform. So I think everybody is under pressure. It's the team that wins. It's the team that loses. So it's a team game eventually. So obviously, the position in which India are in. They are at fifth position, and Sri Lanka are one place below them. So every test becomes important. They cannot afford to lose a single test match, because after this they will go to New Zealand, and then you have a home test series against a very hungry Australian team. A lot of Australians, senior veteran Australian players haven't retired just because they only have one thing in their bucket list, that is to win series in India. The likes of Mitchell Starc, Nathan Lyon,
Yes.
Steve Smith. So there will be the challenge. Upcoming challenge will be very difficult. New Zealand have just defeated England in their home turf, so New Zealand are also in their own conditions are a very tough team to beat. So it starts with Sri Lanka, and then it goes down to your last home season against Australia. So road is tough, but as the team is planning, they are planning on a one single match basis. One by one, they will take the challenge. For now, they are preparing for a goal. I think preparations are going really well. Otherwise, you just imagine on 5th afternoon, late afternoon, they arrived here. Less than 12 hours after arriving, they were in the ground at the same venue. Then they had a 3.5 hour practice session. After 3 days of intense match practice, they were back here in the extreme hot conditions when the temperatures were over in excess of 40. They were
Yes.
practicing here for about close to 4 hours, 3.5, close to 4 hours. So that tells you that team is hungry for wins, and they are looking forward to whitewash Sri Lanka, much like how what they did in 2017 as well, 3-0. So they are very keen, and they are very looking forward to winning this series and getting some important WTC points.
Very rightly put, Vaibhav. And like obviously, like the way you are stating the point again and again, that they are like, we can say that they are not taking rest. They are every day, these players are on the ground. So that somehow shows the hunger and diligence that they have to win, because you can't, a team like India, I don't think anybody will expect a team like India to not qualify for the WTC final twice consecutively. Nobody will expect that from them. So hopefully they win this
Set a
series and
point. I will
also
set a
have
point.
World
I
Series.
set a point.
Yes, please.
You may
Please,
not
please.
like it. You may not like it. Actually, I expect India to not qualify for the World Chess Championship. I honestly don't rate the current Indian Test
That's
team.
the realistic prediction. That's a realistic prediction.
There is a straight no one is possible.
Obviously, 7 out of 9.
There's
Nine
a
out of
straight
seven.
no one
Sorry.
is
Oh my
possible.
God.
This Indian Test team is not the Test team that it used to be.
Yeah. Earlier things were different, but yeah, now whenever if you hear Team India, like irrespective of the players who are playing, you will expect somehow that they will be there in the final. But nevertheless, let's see what happens. And Vaibhav and Debashish are constantly giving all the exclusive updates about the practice sessions and each and everything which is happening in Sri Lanka. So on this note, we will wrap up the show. For more such updates, news, and latest news, keep watching Rev Sports. Thank you so much for watching.